I'd like to call to order the Westerly Town Council meeting for Monday, November 17th, 2025. All councilors are here except for Councilor Aiello, who we expect to arrive later. The town manager, the town solicitor, the town clerk, and town sergeant are all present. First, I'd like to ask Councilor Van Dover for invocation.
Dear Lord, we pray for strength and faith today. Help us know more of your word and face all adversities with the confidence of victory. Let us move mountains with our faith and command things to fall in line in our life. Let us conquer all the evil in our life. Let our words cause healing and life. Let our faith build all the broken pieces in our life. Help us remain strong and not be moved by any adversities. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Next, we have recognition, awards, and memorials, ratify and confirm. 2A, greetings for Italian Consul General Arnaldo Minuti, the Dante Society of Westerly 50th Anniversary Celebrations. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion made to accept by Councilor Dillon, seconded by Councilor LaPetra. I'll get my business here. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All accepted. Next up, presentations. Economic Development Commission update with Douglas Brockway, Chairman of the Economic Development Commission.
If it please the chair, I brought someone who's smart to actually help out. Most of what I want to talk about is update of where we are on the marketing plan for the year-round economy. But before I get into that, I'd like to just make sure that you're aware that on December 10 at the library at 6 p.m., the Rhode Island Department of Transportation will be having a community outreach meeting on the idea of a Rhode Island commuter rail plan. You know, the way to think about that would be commuter rail from Woonsocket to Westerly and back. If we had that in this state, then MBTA could drop you off in Boston. You could switch and get anywhere in Rhode Island from there. It would also be much easier for Governor Lamont and Connecticut et al. To agree to extend Shoreline East here, because then there'd be a transfer to all the various places in Rhode Island. So that's where it is. If someone from this council or maybe from Mr. Lacey's office could be at that meeting and help explain why Westerly is in favor of this, it'd be great. I'll do it if no one else can, but that's on the 10th of December.
Yeah, you've been a representative of the rail expansion, working with Senator Gu. She's been the spearhead on this issue, and we hope that she continues. We know she will continue with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we get some notice for December 10th, I'm sure several councilors would be there. It's an important issue for Westerly.
Great. So on the marketing plan for the town and the related subject of a marketing message, we've been working mostly through interviewing various people in the local economy about how their business is going, what kind of marketing plan, what kind of marketing message they think would be helpful to Westerly and why. We're over 26 individuals so far. Manufacturing, healthcare, arts and entertainment, downtown, and through Route 1, et cetera. We've got, just to keep our notes clean, I've been putting the information we have into a rough draft form of a plan But the current draft that I have here, the EDC has not fully just digested yet. That's going to be main order of business on our December meeting, December 2nd. Through that meeting and then further meeting in January, we expect to get to a workable draft that the planning board could review and then this group could review as the starting point for marketing plan for the town. It should have at a moderately detailed level, I'm not sure how far we'll be able to get. Here are the series of tasks that the town should execute to move forward on the plan and the kinds of resources or the source of resources to do those tasks, kind of outputs that we'd like to get. And that's where we're going. The nature of the plan is our marketing strategy right now is to target at medium and small sized businesses and make them aware of Westerly and interested in coming to Westerly. Probably related to our dominant industries. Healthcare is the largest industry in town, but the various arts and entertainment, hospitality, even if you ignore the beaches, is very, very strong. Retail is strong in town, and there's a solid manufacturing base. There's a lot of interest to increase or solidify the manufacturing base. Our interviews so far with folks in that community say that would be great. We need a real estate or footprint to do it in, and that's it. That may be an issue, the way real estate has been consumed over the last 50 years and the way it's currently zoned. The other thing that's a consistent message we hear is they're having trouble getting the people that they want to work in their business to actually, whether they live in town or not, to actually work in a manufacturing base. I will note that the employment participation of the town in Westerly, according to the Route 1 study, the financial aspect of that is somewhat below the rest of Rhode Island. And at the same time, the jobs in the manufacturing sector are somewhat better paying than retail or hospitality is. So there's a gap. There's an obvious gap. We have people in Westerly that in theory could do work and they're not pursuing the work that the manufacturing sector is offering. One of the things we're going to try and make possible in the marketing plan is outreach to that community and move that needle. Don't know how far we'll move it, but there seems to be a clear opportunity there, at least to ease the employment pressure on some of the businesses in town that we have right now. Biggest things that we have to do after we're never going to be done with interviewing businesses and people around town, but we've got a solid base with the 25 or 6 people that I mentioned. We've got we have some possible marketing messages, but they're not tailored at all for any given community. The marketing message I would execute for a healthcare business is different from the one that you might execute for someone who is like Maxon and needs engineers, et cetera. So there'd be slight variations in practice of the messages, but maybe fine tuning all those would be best served after the town starts executing on the marketing plan. That might be an early task. I'm not sure the EDC is going to do that marketing message refinement before, say, February. But besides a set of marketing messages and how we might use them for businesses, we believe that the intermediaries, by which we mean commercial real estate brokers, attorneys, bankers, insurance people, they help businesses decide where to go next. And so the plan will have outreach into those communities for the same reasons, to attract the businesses that we want, and have outreach towards the people that might the employees of the businesses that we want. And the last group, the last target audience would be all the various local educational organizations from URI, CCRI. We've already been with the education center, but get the various education players in the region aware of Westerly and what we're trying to get done, interested in Westerly, so they can talk to their students and the people who provide services about what we want to do. Or at that point, so that's the manufacturing point. We did have the meeting with Westerly Hospital today. Took us a while to get that meeting arranged. We'd spoken to Wood River Health about a month ago. And we're now going to start considering other healthcare providers in town to talk to them about their issues and what the marketing message could be to help them succeed. So there are a whole number of practices that aren't inside the hospital that they could, if the marketing plan was proper, maybe they'd get more patients or more activity. The biggest issue in the healthcare healthcare environment, based upon the conversation today, reinforced was the reimbursement rates for healthcare businesses, and the fact that Mr. Licitano said today there are a number of gastroenterologists and specialists of that sort that could easily come here and be very, very busy, but they run out of money and go bankrupt within a few months because of the way they're being compensated, so they don't come. That's not something certainly the marketing plan or this group here will do anything about directly. We might be able to help on sending the message to Providence about why it's important to us. But in fact, I would recommend that that this committee think about how Westerly could best help in that arena, but the marketing plan won't deal with that. Outside of that, our schedule is, as I mentioned, we're going to have our first serious sit down to grind through future steps portion of the plan in December. We'll be refining that through January. I don't expect I'll want to show that to you before early February, but I'll let you know how that goes.
Thank you. I must ask, this was presented to the planning board as well, this?
We asked to sit down with the planning board to make sure we heard their interests and the kinds of things they wanted us to get done. They saw a very early version of this draft just to get it, so they could get a sense of, I'll call it, the table of contents that would be in a plan. But what was more important, and there were some complaints, well, this isn't detailed enough. And my reaction is, well, yeah, because we're not there yet. We're just starting. There was an overt reinforcement of something that some people in this room have mentioned. See if we can't do more with the defense industry. It's very unlikely that we'll do anything big with the defense industry. We don't have the real estate to put, say, a large facility here. But what we think we might be able to do is help people who are going to be working as subcontractors into that business see why Westerly is a good place to be. And that's where our focus on the marketing message for that industry will be. Excuse me. I have some contact into EB through the commuter rail thing, and I'm trying to get some understanding of how they deal with their subcontractors and what would make them attractive to working in Westerly, but that's going very slowly. Any ideas or suggestions or thoughts on how to get more involved with that opportunity? Love to hear it.
And this was initiated, just an overview, and I'll open it up to all the councils for questions and comment. But this was a charge of the comprehensive plan that's currently 2040. And this council had a meeting in July of this year, 2025, asking for more focus on the promoting new year-round industries, not the beach itself. There's plenty of
I think
focus on the beach.
I think the comprehensive plan was also not beach oriented. Uh, that we're not interested in spending our marginal time on the summer vacation issues of the town. If you want us to, we'll reorient, but we weren't going to go there much anyhow.
Very good. I'll open it up to Council our liaisons at Council Van Dover and Council Niemeyer. So I'm interested in your thoughts as well. Council LaPetra?
How you doing, guys? A lot of these issues I've been talking about for a while. I used to be a liaison, no longer. We don't want to start here. I kind of wish I was doing this plan. I really do. Okay, because I know you said you reached out to 26 different people. First of all, will you share with us any of the people you reached out with for some of these interviews?
Yeah, I can give you the list.
Okay. All right. And you also said you had, real estate agents, bankers, lawyers, insurance agents. I would question when any of them could contribute to insurance agents are much like my field or much like Gaffney Dolan's field, where all you gotta do is bring bodies into town and you're gonna generate revenue for yourself because it's almost like everybody has to do it. They have to get insurance, they have to do taxes, they have to get buried. So they have their own incentives. So as far as bankers and attorneys and real estate agents, a real estate agent, you could have probably just gone to vision appraisal and cut them out. And I don't know what bankers and lawyers would contribute to the discussion at all, but what I would start with is.
Dylan,
Okay.
imagine you have a marketing message and it goes out through social media and the various places that might interest, say, commercial real estate brokers. What it will say is very short messages, says, make clear that Westerly is a place that is interested in businesses. If you've got somebody who's looking for a place to go, make sure they consider Westerly for these 3.5
Well,
reasons.
I'm gonna give you the number one problem with us marketing Wesley right now, and I'll get to that in a minute. First of all, if I wanted to start with what you think we are now. We always start there. What are we now? And our economy is based on, I think, obviously tourism is part of it. I think even more than tourism would be the money that we put into 501Cs, all different 501Cs to extend our tourism season. And some of them, it becomes public-private partnerships. Some of it is just what they do on their own. But it seems like we're a state that likes to extend it. We're a state that wants to build an economy on a 10-week season that we've done a pretty good job extending. And I'll say the fringe is going on both sides and done that through involving 501Cs for better or worse. And I have a lot of thoughts on that. But the real problem with Westerly is we don't have enough year-round economy. And you guys, that's what you said you want to market. So why don't we? And I'll tell you the number one thing that they need, obviously, is a place. A year-round industry doesn't want to come in here and rent property. Look at Tower Street Inc. When they came in there, they wanted to own that building, that Wood River Health. So you're going to find that problem. And here's the number one issue with Westerly. We have too many idle investors, I'm going to call them. And these idle, that's because it's too easy to be an idle investor in Westerly. So these properties are being bought up. The old examples were Friendlies and Benny's. You've heard that a million times from me. And we got bailed out on Friendlies by basically, selling our soul and becoming the drug capital of Southern Rhode Island. But that's a separate issue. But at least it's off the market now. Okay, so fixed itself. But what about all these other properties that get bought up that? These are places that industry could come into, but they're not going to come in and rent from somebody. And you talk about the costs. One day their rent goes up 400%. What good is that? They want to make an investment in this town. And you look around, and I'll just give you some examples here. Other than the Capianato Group, we had Hoxie Buick that was there for years. And what did they put out? They put out an Argentinian waffle place or something. And you know that if it does make it, then the employees there are probably going to rely on SNAP benefits and Obamacare. It's not going to sustain $80,000 a year jobs. You have, probably a few more examples. The urgent care, I mean, what are they doing there? There was a couple from Massachusetts bought it and they've lost all their tenants, nothing going on. And here's the reason, and I'm telling you the reason this is happening. We have to make different policies, okay? It's great to have a marketing plan, but if we don't change our policy, we're not gonna be successful. Now, and I brought these policies to you before and I kind of got scavied a little, but I'm gonna say it again. First off, the commercial tax rate, 9.81 parts per thousand is too low in Westerly, okay? And I don't want to tell everybody want to raise taxes, but you have to, you can't keep it so low that people would just buy it and sit on it for 10 years with nothing to do. And then, and in concert with that, because we don't want to raise commercial taxes too much, the vacancy tax, and I asked you to do something with vacancy tax, and you did tell me, yes, there's something on the books, but it's got to be rewritten, and it's got to be enforced, and it's got to be something that would deter people from sitting there buying these properties and sitting there, because a commercial property gets sucked up just as quick in Westerly as a residential. And often it sits here with these idle investors who have no idea what to do with it. You have to eliminate the American Opportunity Zones. And we lost Trek Tours on Main Street because of that. Why do we have an American Opportunity Zone in Westerly, Rhode Island? Are you kidding me? There's no reason to have them here. So all that does is it's another avenue for investors to come in and take properties away that could be used for industry businesses. What else could we do here? Obviously, the short-term rentals aren't doing anyone any favors. You could leave it down the beach, but we should be getting rid of the short-term rentals because that's taking away houses that could be used for workforce. And I've already mentioned that I don't like some of the things that we've seen. I could talk about the Westerly revolving fund a little bit, but I'm going to lay off them for now because I haven't heard from them in a while. All right. So those are the things we have to do. We have to start changing these policies because if to attract industry businesses, they want to own it. They want to come in here and own a building. That's what they want to do. And if we have no buildings for them to own, why are they going to come here? Okay, the workforce, everybody that works at EB doesn't live in Groton. Okay, and that's another thing I want to touch on because I heard it so many times and I'm sure I'm going to hear it from Alexandria and a few others up here. It's I know that Rhode Island, the problem with Rhode Island is we're probably moving towards a socialist state where, most of our residents, even the small businesses that we have now, they're not really succeeding, are they? If you're a small business, but your owners of the small business and all the employees still have to go on SNAP benefits and Obamacare in the winter months, are we really a successful community with small businesses? I mean, we're still supplementing these small businesses. So the one thing I do hear from you guys a lot, from everybody around town, is the chicken or the egg argument. You know what I'm familiar with as far as you have to have the houses for the workers, or do you have to have the jobs for them to work at, right? So do the industry need the workers to be here first, or do the workers need to come here to have a job? How many times have we heard this? Okay. And they say, well, chicken or the egg. We don't know what comes first. Wrong. I tell you what comes first. And I'm sick of hearing it. What comes first is the jobs. Because if we bring in the workers first, if we say, well, let's bring in the subsidized housing first and bring all these people in, because then there'll be a workforce here for industry. That's not how it's going to work out. They're going to come in and they're going to go right to what we have. And what do we have now is tourism. So all we're doing is bringing in workers to expand the Weekapaug Inn or something like that. We're not going to help our economy at all. We have to have the industry for here first. Don't worry about bringing the workers in. They'll find Westerly after we have the industry. Please invite talk to Rhode Island manufacturers, talk to EB, talk to, we lost RCM Technologies, talk to all, we're kind of like the Silicon Valley of defense here a little bit as far as the submarines and everything else goes. But I'm not done yet because
Only 5 minutes, only 5 minutes for
I could talk
council.
about this for an hour. I'm
I
telling
know
you.
you could.
All right.
That's why, please
All right.
be considerate.
All right, well, they take away two things, and I'm just gonna wrap it up real quick.
Let me-
We need the action plan. The action plan would be my ideas for a long time, and I'm talking about the commercial tax rate goes up, vacancy tax, American Opportunity Zones, get rid of them, short-term rentals above shore road, get rid of them. Be careful in what we do with these 501c3s. And the other thing I want you to come away with, let's get rid of this chicken and egg argument. Let's bring in the industry first and then worry about where we're finding the workers to work them.
Thank you. Thank you for being succinct. Council Niemeyer.
Okay, back to the marketing plan. So
Yeah.
the,
Well, if
I really like the
if I-
approach.
if I may
Yeah.
Very briefly,
Sure, sure.
some of those policy issues may come to fore, some may not.
Okay.
And what you do is you modify the marketing message and the plan as you execute the changes that, or don't, that Mr. LaPietro was talking about. All that I can do now is recommend a marketing plan based upon the reality that it is today. And if you get some of these things changed, that's great. Then you change the plan and you sell that.
Mhm.
We took this action for you.
Well, I appreciate the way you're going about it right now. The focusing on these intermediaries is, I think, is a really clever approach. It's a market that you have accessible, that you don't have to kind of go into the way you're having some difficulties getting the EB crowd, for instance. But they're also, influential with the people that we want to target. I think that's very clever. So you're going to get to about February where it may be something you want to present to us. Is there something you need to take it to the next level once it gets to that point? Do you want to bring in a consultant of some kind, someone with, more pointed expertise in this matter? Is that something you're interested
The
in?
closer we get to implementation, the more time we're going to be spending with Melissa Davy. If you look at the comprehensive plan, it's the Development Services Organization is supposed to carry this subject forward. And I asked Sean Lacy, where do I take that? Because it doesn't exist anymore. And he said, work with Melissa. There's no staff in the town right now to execute on a marketing plan. So if we relied only on town staff, it's going to be a not particularly aggressive plan at first. There are external resources that we could consider, and we're going to have an initial conversation with Commerce RI in a week or two. What are the possible strategies that we could execute? I don't know what they're going to say yet, or whether or not this body would care to pursue that. So we'll have some sense of that, but I'm not in a position to talk at length about it today.
Understood. Do you think that changes to the makeup of government with regards to the lacking that you just described in terms of town staff that could implement it is going to be part of your proposal, or is that just something you're mentioning now?
It's going to be discussed at reasonable length in the EDC, and we'll make a recommendation about it.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know how we're gonna vote. I think the EDC, for want of a better term, emotionally, would prefer that the town had someone in the town staff who is the outreach coordinator for businesses and their intermediaries. How do I get started in Westerly? Concierge, help people through the maze. If you know all the people and the right people in town, you can get through it. But if you don't know them, it's a very difficult and sloggy process, or so we're told. So we think it would be a great idea. I don't know what it would cost or whether or not this organization would be interested in funding it.
Okay, well, in my opinion, right now, you are sticking to the guidelines that we set out. You're creating the vision that we had presented to you. I think you're right in line with it, and I think you're doing a great job. Please let us know if there's anything else that we could do to help you as you do this.
Thank you. Councilor Healy?
Thank you guys very, very much. I'm really excited to hear all of this. So there's a lot of different things that we can touch on. I want to just bring it back to when you were talking about local education. You said you talked to the education center, and then URI and CCRI were the other two that you
We
mentioned.
haven't talked to them yet.
Okay. On that list, if we can bump into Connecticut as well, there's Connecticut College, Mitchell, the Connecticut Community College, Three Rivers. Those are all pretty close to us. They might be able to be helpful. When you're talking about perhaps getting additional help staff-wise, I wonder if we could see what we can get through grants or a fellowship, or maybe one of those schools that you are contacting is looking for an internship or something along those lines, that would be really, really helpful. One of the biggest things that I want to kind of put together here were something that you said and something that Councilor LaPetra said. So you said that you guys are focusing on small to medium-sized businesses. Councilor LaPetra talked about ACA and SNAP benefits. We already have a Walmart, right? So that is a moot point. Going after the smaller, middle-sized businesses ensures that it is a smaller, tight-knit type of business that is likely statistically to pay more than a big corporation. So I appreciate that you guys are going for that. I think that makes up exactly what Westerly is. I mean, just getting O'Reilly's recently was too big for some people. So you are directly going with the voter base that we have and what feedback I am hearing. More
So-
small.
Unless we can solve the issue with Bradford Dye, or I'm not gonna even go the other. There's just not the real estate for a
Yeah.
really big business to come into town if we can't solve some problems that a marketing plan isn't gonna solve.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The EPA came in and gave us a 10-year plan, and that was just about a year ago. And not that I'm counting the months down on that 10-year for Bradford Dye. I am. On a different topic, I know that you said that I would get really against you, but something that I just realized that we have in common is the want for vacancy tax. As I'm sure Councilor LaPetra knows, we have the real estate non-utilization tax through the state, came out in 2002, and the state encourages every single town to get behind it. So a vacancy tax, commercial tax rate, I'm 100% on board with that. It's something that I want to talk about during budget time, so I would be very interested in seeing any work that you guys did or comparing. I've never seen any proposals of Councilor LaPetra, so I would be going into this blind.
We did some staff work on this last year. Late in the game, somebody, I think it was Aiden Adams, was in the assessor's office, and someone there mentioned, we already have a vacancy tax statute on the books in town. And I've scanned it. It seems very draconian to me, so maybe you'd want this organization, that the town council would want to soften it if you went there. But in order to implement it, you need someone or some method to actually say what's been vacant, for how long, the way those laws work. Has the owner been doing what is reasonably to be expected by the ordinance to do something about it? And if not, inform them they're in violation, then you go through the penalty phasing. So you're going to have to fund that with people, person or people to actually do that. And then you're gonna have to stand by them while they cause problems with people who, I think your phrase idle investors is right on. It's a problem. We've got idle investors in the way, there are a bunch of different ways the town is structured to let them not change and get into the 21st century.
Yeah.
I'm unclear myself whether vacancy tax is the right way, but if I suspect that if I wanted to study it really hard, I would soften some of the programs in the one that's on the books right now. But you're gonna have to decide to fund it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because it goes right along with a homestead exemption. Like he mentioned, short-term rentals, it all really goes together. It could be packaged up very nicely.
But to the short-term rental issue, there's not an employer we talked to we talked to the Ballones who own Haversham Maria's, et cetera, Warwick Hangar, Grace Hill Brewery, Maxon Automatic Machinery, US Extruders, High Hope Tavern, workshop with some handful of folks at the Ocean Chamber. They all say that they could do more and do better if they could find people to do the work. There's an argument that says the work doesn't have to physically be in Westerly. You could have businesses grow in, say, Hopkinton for Westerly residents to commute to. And there's an argument that goes the other way.
Yeah.
And I guess my sense of it is we ought to the extent the marketing plan has an impact, try and get both things to happen.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, our unemployment rate in Westerly is extremely low. So I don't necessarily think it's people that are here that aren't pursuing the jobs, but the lack of accessibility to move here, to be a part of those jobs.
Right, but to play on the other side of the same coin that Mr. LaPietro raised about the idle investors,
Mm.
our labor participation rate, according to the statistical analysis in the Route 1 study, our labor participation rate is almost 10 points below the rest of the state. So we have idle employees. I don't know what to do about that, but outside of to try and get them to say, this isn't an opportunity for place you can work and try and get something to happen. Those two things are both, they're troubling. There's something wrong there. And I don't have a crystal sense as to what to do about it.
Well, you've done an amazing job getting us there. And I think getting those people here, and that's all going to be part of the very ending of this plan of getting it out there, literally marketing it, whether, whatever way that goes about. I think it could work. But I appreciate how far you've gotten so far.
Very good. Council Van Dover?
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for coming. All right, I really liked the comment that you made, Doug, different marketing plan for different fractions of the industry, basically. So we talked about the healthcare. I'm concerned about healthcare in this town because just over the border, they pay a whole heck of a lot more money than we do. We're losing our healthcare in this town because of it. What to do with that? That's a state issue, unfortunately. I almost think that should be like at the bottom of our marketing plan in that group that we've talked about manufacturing, just because until the state does something, our hands are tied, So I would hate to see, not that we're wasting time there, but what can we really do in marketing when that's an issue?
Based upon, I was at the meeting today, so so the Westerly Hospital is a little bit unique in that it has the same systems, technology, and procedures and processes as Lawrence Memorial and Yale, the very deep, technically deep intellectual center of the whole thing out of Yale. They have the same thing back and forth, and the same quality measurements back and forth. And that whole environment and the way it works is a draw for potential businesses and employees. So that plus their cooperative work with people like Wood River Health can tell a story to help, to help us attract the businesses that we want, or to keep the businesses that we want from moving somewhere else. And it's in that sense that my instincts are, again, we haven't talked about it as a group yet. My instincts are using it that way to help make it clear what's attractive about Westerly is the way to go. The compensation issue is, as I think we all know, something that nobody in this room can do much about. So I would tend to agree we're not going to be selling to people to bring your dental practice here as much as using the quality of what is here to help attract businesses.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping the higher ups will do something to rectify that situation, but I'm not saying desert them entirely. I'm just saying, I think, again, we've had this discussion, manufacturing, a trade school in this town or somewhere within. You guys talked about Charleston, Hopkinton, Ashaway, bringing something in there. I mean, I'm not sure of what we have available for lots here for manufacturing. I know the issue of water, what kind of manufacturing will use up our water and filter it out, and how intricate this can be for us as the little town that we are. And so.
Very quick comment. I don't have it yet, but I'm hoping by the time December is done, to have a clearer way to say, of all the land that is available for zone commercial or industrial, this is how much is used and this is how much is available. And
Great.
we'll get a hard number or a relatively hard number so we know whether or not it's a big thing or not.
Great, that's great,
But
because that's
there will be
important.
policies that the town could execute to change the zoning, to change that number.
Well, they're working on that right now. We're, the planning board and all of what's going on right now with the Route One corridor. So let's see where we come out in the wash with that. They've been working very hard on it. As you know, I go to every meeting, so I'm pretty vested in what's going on. I don't like to not know what's going on, because then I can't make we can't make an informed decision if we don't know. So also, I did want to bring up some points of things that we could possibly, okay, our house sales are higher. What we sell our houses for in this town are higher typically. But our real estate taxes are so much lower than Connecticut. They're about 2/3 different. As you know, I'm a real estate appraiser, so I'm very well aware of what the tax issues are. I think that that's a big selling point. Yes, you're going to pay a little more for the house, but your real estate taxes in the end are going to be cheaper every year. That's one thing that we haven't discussed. The utility bills, the electric bills. Our electric bills are 2/3 less than they are across the river. That's a huge thing that we should push. I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. Let's see. The thing about our business taxes, our corporate taxes, I agree that they shouldn't be the same as residential. I don't think that's fair to the residences who aren't able to necessarily make anything on their homes. I would like to see that increased somewhat, but nothing crazy. We don't want to shell shock people either, we just kind of, raise it a little bit more than where it's at right now. I don't think that's unreasonable as far as companies go. Schools, I talked about that. And I agree with Dylan on the jobs first thing. If we don't have the jobs, how can we get the people? So I've been after you guys about, reaching out to EB and reaching out to the defense and finding out, what do they want? What do they need, right? Because we can build some little niche companies. I mean, they're making all these little gadgets across the, in China, these little tiny electronic pieces. Why can't we do that here? We have a little town. No, we're not going to be able to put up some big conglomerate. I get that, and I don't want that, nor does anybody else in this town. But to bring in some really good paying jobs, these little niche companies, I believe, and I know I've been after you because I would like to hear from them. What do they have to say? What do they need? Because we've got them on both sides of us. We have Quonset, we have EB, and then we have the military, we have the Coast Guard, we have the Navy. What do they need from us? I know I'm beating a dead dog here, but I would just like to see, let's get somebody out there to talk to them. I mean, I'm happy to do it. I would do it in a minute. I'm a doer. I'm not one to sit on my hands. And I really think that if we just reach out to them, we might have a better grasp at what they actually need from us and what we could possibly do.
There has been reach out to their community outreach vice president,
Okay.
trying to do something. That might take some time. Any contacts or references that you have, reach out to the ones you want to yourself or feed them to us and we'll run after it.
Very good.
But, it takes time.
Yeah.
That's going to be that's going to be a stew that takes some time to come to fruition.
Yeah. And one more sore spot, our schools. I know that you said that you had a conversation with Frank on WBLQ, and he said that our schools aren't as bad as they seem to be.
He was trying to present that, yes.
Yeah, I think he's sadly mistaken, I'm sorry to say. I don't know what we can do in that department. I just think there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, but I don't think we're in such a great position with our schools to draw people, to draw families to this town. So, and I'm sorry to say, it's unfortunate.
A reasonably broadly held impression.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that you could promote is we have really good, safe neighborhoods. Our police department is great. I don't only want to say this in public, but, I mean, I walk 10 o'clock. I leave here, I go home, I walk around my neighborhood with my dog, and I don't have a problem. There's nobody around, nobody bothers me. That I think is a great selling point for our town. Again, and I'll be walking around, a police officer will go by me. They're not MIA. They are certainly out there, and they are, traveling up and down our streets and keeping an eye on some things. And as far as adding a position, I get that. I'm not against that. I would like to see us find out what we need and then possibly bring somebody in that can field the phone calls. We discussed this at the last meeting as well. We need somebody that's going to be able to say, somebody calls and says, hey, I'm looking to bring my industry here, my manufacturing, whatever. What can you tell me about the place? Just besides the marketing package, more of just being a liaison between the marketing package and our town. And so I'm not against that. I don't think that's a bad idea, but I think that would have to come down the pike a little bit. But you guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate everything that you do. And yeah, let's see where we go from here. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Shalaba, I'm sorry.
Hi, Doug, Ken. Thank you very much for coming tonight. I first want to thank you guys and your whole staff, because it's a volunteer staff that everybody has to understand that does a lot of this work outside of their normal business, and it takes up a lot of time. I say that from being as a private citizen years ago on the EDC before I was even a liaison, and I know the time that it takes to get things done. So I want to thank everybody at the EDC. I do agree. I think businesses are the first thing that we really need to kind of discuss about trying to market and get people here. I have two questions. One, have we done a new survey to see from the public, what do they feel is the top 5 or 10 priorities of what they want to see for Westerly in regards to marketing plan? That's my first question. And then the second one is, have we, with some of the big companies here, like we'll say Ocean House, with the marketing that they've been doing and bringing such attention here to Westerly, have we looked into collaborating with them on a marketing program?
So no survey. My personal advice would be not something that I want to do right now. For instance, in the Route 1 study, we did a survey of the kinds of businesses people wanted, and I could go back to that because Jim Torres and I had to redo all the analysis based on the input. And so there's a lot of things people say, that's great, but I would much rather figure out what direction we want to set and see if that matches, if it resonates with people, than to ask people to, what kind of business do you want here? I don't personally view that as a good use of time.
So are you looking for more guidance from the town council or the planning board to say, this is what I want to task you to do for marketing, and go A, businesses, or B, housing, or whatever? Are you looking for that specifically, or you have your own plan that you're going with?
I'm very interested in the sense of the planning board and the town council on the kinds of outcomes or results they'd like us to try and contribute to. It's a marketing plan, so it's not going to actually solve all these things, but it can contribute to them. But I'd much rather have that with the smaller group, have that conversation in a forum like this, than to send out a survey to the average citizen in town. I think that part, I'll do it if I have to, but I don't find that I don't think it's going to get us very far. On the collaboration, have to. And there've been a number of the conversations that we've had that amount to, if there was a social media presence, I'm not going to say just a website, because something like the town website is too dull for imagination for this. But so think combination of, yes, website, but Instagram, Facebook, other environments where, for instance, if you wanted to know what entertainment could I get in Westerly in November, all of that could be there at a high level. And if you're really interested in, say, sharks, then you get into the Shark Museum's website. Or if you're interested in Impressionist art, and by the way, it's a wonderful museum, it'll tell you about that. Or if you want to know where can I get a good cheeseburger, it'll tell you that. It'll link you to their sites. And so that kind of cooperation, that kind of working back and forth is, I think, personally, is going to be required for it to make any sense whatsoever. Elsewise, it's just something that's standalone from the reality of the environment, of the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Aiello?
Thank you. My apologies for missing the presentation, but I'll go back and watch it.
It wasn't much, Bill.
Okay. And yeah, as you recall, I was the liaison, the 18 to 20 council, and basically said the same thing then, and I'll say tonight is we want to fill vacant commercial buildings. And we want to focus on increasing year-round businesses and employment opportunities where people can earn a decent income. Simple. How we do that, that's the question. But basically those two things. And years ago, I'll say the same thing tonight. So I know it's easy to get sidetracked with a lot of things and different directions, and it can change from council to council, but hopefully between a comprehensive plan and working with the planning board, and I mean, I don't think anybody could argue with these two things: fill the vacant buildings and increase business and employment opportunities with good income.
To the extent that the marketing plan will get people aware of Westerly and interested in coming here to achieve, and we get to achieve those two things, I think everybody in this room will have a party.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I too appreciate the work that you've done to fulfill what the comprehensive plan had directed and what the town council this year had considered important. And I recognize, in the conversation tonight that your method of contacting the existing stakeholders in town, the employers, the healthcare workers, the businesses, that is the best start that we could achieve. What are their needs? What would help them grow? What sectors are they in? What sectors could possibly grow in Westerly? So without having that research and that input, it's hard to set up any policy or to think of any policy. Yeah, we all want more jobs, we want sustainable industry. But what does that look like, and how does that get implemented? So we need to do this research that the Economic Development Corporation is doing. Your listening campaign, I'll call it, to find out what sectors are successful, what do they need. And then we can get into the policies that have been discussed tonight, some of the end game of it. You said vacancy tax, we have it on the books. Why isn't that being utilized presently? If it were utilized, in other towns, is there a success rate to that vacancy tax? The existing buildings that are vacant, what made them go, out of business? And what possibly could the town of Westerly provide to attract new businesses, either the same sector or a different sector? So all that research that the EDC is doing is going to, put a clear spotlight on what the issues are, and then help us come to a means to improve it, to fix it. So I recognize it's not an easy task. Healthcare, you stated what everyone's clamoring for is to have better reimbursement rates. So our doctors have an incentive to remain here. I'm sure they don't want to leave, from what I'm told. But we do have success rates with Wood River Health, with the ambulance corps. We need to lobby the State House to make certain that they understand the town of Westerly's at risk here. We might lose our hospital, and we we need support. We don't want them to go over to New London and completely inconvenience the residents of Westerly.
So, Westerly is one of only two towns in the state that's in a NECTA, which is a it's similar to metropolitan statistic areas. We're one of only two in the state. I'm not sure which the other one is, where our NECTA is mostly in Connecticut. So the national economic measures and all that stuff, we're part of Connecticut, according to them. We're not part of Rhode Island. And so it's very difficult for us to, on a lot of these policies, to be successful here unless we can get both states to recognize there's a natural economy from Narragansett, at least to New London, and do something with us to help modify that. It might be on that point, I was talking with, I guess it was Jen Britton and John Canny over at High Hope, both raised the subject of Uber and the lack of service here. And they have their rules by state. So if you are a driver in Stonington and you say, sure, I'll pick you up at say, at Gray Sale. And the reality is once I pick up at Gray Sale and drop you off, say, wherever, Charleston, I have to go back to Connecticut before I can get my next ride. So in the time between when I commit to pick you up and I get there, I get another opportunity for a job in Stonington, I'll drop you. And so the service is highly unreliable and unpopulated. But there are programs to have the actual governance area across state lines if we lobby for it and pursue it. So one of the, I know that much. I don't know how hard it is to do that lobbying, but I think we're going to recommend that we try and do something about that.
Yeah, so you raised another industry, the Uber industry, the share ride industry, how that is affected as well as the healthcare industry. So what your work on the EDC committee, could they help define what the possible action items are for Westerly, for our delegation at the State House, for our representatives in the federal government? Can we all work on a regional basis? We work pretty well together. Otherwise, can we work together on these economic issues to help Westerly? I don't know what's in it for Connecticut, but it seems like there's a lot in it for Westerly.
We'll have to work on that.
As far as education, the Westerly Education Center, opportunities that they present for jobs, for EB jobs, good paying jobs. I know the chicken and egg scenario was raised, but they need a place to live if they're going to stay in Westerly. They can get a job, they can get their education here, they can get a job in electric boat, but if they don't have a place to live there, they're out of our community. So we need housing.
So without getting too esoteric, from my consulting days, regardless of chicken or egg, there are probably 3 or 4 factors and they can't get too out of whack with each other. My instincts are pretty close to Mr. LaPietra's. You got to have the businesses that are going to employ somebody, but they're only going to grow as fast as they know that they can get staff. And so these things got to be within a stage of each other in development for it to work real well.
So I appreciate the report, the interim report that you're doing. I appreciate the work that Councilor Niemeyer and Councilor Van Dover are doing in support of the EDC. If there's something more that you need from the council moving forward, you have our ear. You can contact us anytime. I should have asked the manager if you
have
anything you want to add tonight.
Well covered.
Yeah, the manager's constantly in touch with the EDC, with Doug Brockway.
Well, there's only so much time you can spend with Sean before it's terrible. No, we're in contact and Melissa and I are getting in more contact. As I said, we're going to talk with Commissar see if they do have resources or ideas that are material to this. And we'll let you know what comes out of that. And we think we're in a good place.
So I think you've heard from all the counselors on what direction they're most interested in, but I think together, I think we have the same message. It's just, how do we get to that end game.
Thank,
Sure.
If the goal is to bring in industry and as I said, industry wants to own the property, they want to own something when they come here. Could we get a list of places that are still available, even if it's 10 years out, like BDA could be on the list? We know that it's 10 years away. Maybe there's some land, Tom Hobby Road, maybe there's some land, Industrial Drive. Sound like you're ahead of me a little
we're
bit.
gonna
All right.
try.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I missed you. All right. Well, thank you. I like that.
Between data that we already have, and I had a conversation with the assessor's office this week, I think there might be a path. We just haven't sat down and ground on it, but we're gonna try, do our best.
Thank you, Doug.
So I think you've got a round of support here, and I hope you keep this energy going forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. So that was very, very good. And the next item on our agenda are citizens' comments. These citizens' comments are for agenda items as posted only. The second citizens' comments can be for any item. But tonight, we're just limiting to the first citizens' comment to the agenda items, and it doesn't include the communications and reports section as what's been misconstrued in other meetings. So I just want to make that clear. So we have two names on, Attorney Mike Rubin. I believe he's on the second citizens' comments. Yeah. It's Ben Weber in the audience. Counselor Rubin, you're for the second citizens' comments?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I crossed my name off.
Thank you. Ben Weber.
Me then, huh?
Ben Weber, 3 Blossom Court, Westerly, Rhode Island. Chair of the Harbor Management Commission, here on my own accord tonight. Executive session, we have Fort Road on there. We've come up here and we've asked questions, but I'm going to put all you guys in the hot seat tonight. Collectively as a whole. Because I would like to know why. I just have a few questions. I would like to know why I text a few of you, not all of you, because I didn't have everybody's number, but I asked you, what was Solicitor Conley going to do or say at the hearing? And I got no response as to what he was going to do or say. To me, that's concerning. That's concerning. You guys as the client didn't know what your legal counsel was going to go do and say. When you guys are up here representing all the people that put you in those seats. I will say, and he will confirm, he said numerous times, he only does what his client says. So either you guys didn't know, or you didn't instruct him what to go and do and say. Apparently, he got both motions denied. Kudos. So he kicked the can down the road, making bank at the taxpayer's expense in the meantime. Why haven't any of you counselors asked him about filing any contradictory motions? A motion of summary judgment for himself to get this slap suit dismissed on its face. Specifically, since you've already been told, this has been already settled. It was an agreement made, the 2008 resolution. Why are we sitting here? Let's see, we had a motion for summary judgment to nullify that agreement and we had a motion to compel for a survey, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Why are we surveying Fort Road? Have you guys not been paying attention? You can pay all the money you want. You're not going to find Fort Road in its original location unless you dig underneath the Misquamicut Club. That would be the first location. Second location, in the middle of their parking lot, because they moved it to put in the Misquamicut Club. Second location. Now they wanted a parking lot, so they moved it again to where it is now. That's why nothing prior to the 2008 resolution, that agreement matters. It was spelled out its location via plat maps for a right-of-way in lieu of a road in perpetuity. Have any of you counselors ask your counsel to subpoena the records that culminated in that agreement? I stood up there myself and asked you all to do that, or Solicitor Conley to do that, because I put a NAPA request in for that information. Any and all documentation related to the 2008 resolution, including counsel. Who's the counsel? What is the name I've been saying? Does it ring a bell? Anybody remember?
But this isn't question and answering, Mr.
Why
Markey.
not?
You know that.
Why not?
Because
Matthew
that's our
Thompson.
rules.
He was the counsel for the opposing party in that agreement. He represented the Conservancy in the Watch Hill Fire District. Maybe you want to write this down. Have you guys been told any information? Have you seen any documentation? Any minutes? You're wasting the taxpayers' money, and there's a lot at stake here to be losing. I highly suggest you advise your counsel. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? That concludes the sign-up sheet. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak at this time on the agenda items? Okay, seeing none. Council's response.
I'll just respond real quick, Mr. Weber. I was in court Friday, and Mr. Conley conferred with me, and I said, Mr. Conley, win, and he did. So he listened to his client. See, he listened to his client Friday. That's all I can say.
Council Healy.
Thank you. I was one of the ones that received a text from Ben. However, Ben, I have supported you this entire time, and I respect where you're coming from. But telling everyone that you asked a question and we didn't answer you isn't fair to us. The text read, I sure hope the attorney you all hired is going to do the right thing tomorrow. Kinda odd, no one seems to know what he is going to do or understand that the only thing that matters is the 2008 resolution, which is defined and declared by the right-of-way. This particular type of communication is not something that I can respond to without breaking some type of law with us being in litigation. I think that you know that every other time you've tried to reach out to me, I've been very accommodating, but I had to clear the record because one thing I do pride myself on, honestly, is my response time and being able to be available for people that want to talk to me and tell me what they think about town and what they think that I should be doing. And then, you asked about why we haven't done A, B, or C, but we go into executive session and then we can't really report out onto the things that we're asking. I will say that I think probably 100% of the questions that are brought to us by email at the podium, we all ask, the majority of us ask and look our counsel in the eye and have direct conversation. The surveying was brought up, I think maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago, and I told Joy Cordio the same thing. Everyone has looked at this new council and said, why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you doing anything different? What are you guys doing? And then we go in and we say, how can we what can we do that's different? How can we better ourselves and our side of this? So we jump on a ledge a little bit and say, all right, well, let's add a survey. Let's add more information to the pile of evidence that we have. And now we're hearing that still isn't good enough. And I respect everything that you have come up here and said, along with most of the other advocates, but I don't think it's fair to automatically assume that all of the problems that may have been present 2 years ago are not present now because there are 3 brand new counselors here that work very differently than the previous counselors. I hope that I got my point across kindly and respectfully, because that is truly how I'm talking. I truly feel like we're doing a really good job, and we all congratulated Mr. Conley on this win. I saw some good conversation going on social media about it. A lot of people that have said some very nasty things in this room turned around and were saying, good job, Conley. Good job. So I would like to leave it at that, where there is some real good things going on that I just wanted to lay out there.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councilor Van Dover?
Thanks for coming out, Ben. I too got your text. And I will agree with Counselor Healy on us and how we could respond to that. But I will be asking your questions. So thank you.
Anyone else? Councilor Yellow?
Just real quick. Ben and others, executive sessions are sealed, so that means we're not going to discuss it outside of the executive session. Sorry. If you want to be more involved, run for council next time. And your text message was a statement, not a question. I'm not going to repeat it, but it was the same thing that Councilor Healy said. If you had a question, I would have responded somehow. You may not like the answer, but I'll respond somehow. Or maybe you will like the answer, but ask a question. And I think this council and the last council have done pretty good trying to protect the public's interest in shoreline access. And things do take time. Running through the court system or CRMC or wherever it may be, it takes time. And Mr. Conley's office did a superb job. And I believe it was Friday, correct? Yeah, did a superb job. That's one step, but they did an excellent job. And I think people should congratulate his office on that effort. There's more to do, and we'll see. And as far as some people commenting about me, I just defer everything to the manager and solicitor. I said, one, my style is not to publicly criticize people typically. And I do defer a lot of things or send a lot of things over to the manager and solicitor. They have a lot of knowledge and experience, and it's their roles. But maybe they would, maybe they won't. But there's been we've had differences of opinion on things, but I'm not going to shout and yell and scream all this stuff. We disagree respectfully, and we move on and we work together to get things done. And in the end, and there's a lot more agreement than disagreements, I can tell you that. So enough said. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll just quickly state I didn't get the text. I feel hurt. But he's got my number. I too want to congratulate Solicitor Bill Conley and Sarah O'Toole, Attorney Sarah O'Toole, for their diligence, their hard work, their work that paid off to overturn a summary judgment that was raised against the town. The town was not the plaintiff in this. The town was the defendant, and it's with the council's trust of Solicitor Conley that we put our most important issues with. Public access to Navitry Point in this case. And we can't work on emotions as much as we all are on the same page and we're all working to have public access, you know, from what the Harbor Management Group and what Mr. Weber has stated. But the council has consistently stated that public access is something that we're not taking for granted and we're going to fight for. So we need to have professionals that know what the law is, know what the jeopardy of the case is against the town. So we need to have the solicitor directing the council. We have input, we have discussions, we have questions, but that doesn't mean what advice is given to us can be persuaded a different direction. It's really the solicitor and their knowledge of what would protect the town, in this case for public access. So I want to thank Solicitor Conley again for a great win for Westerly. That concludes citizens' comments, council's response.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to move to item 11, possible executive session at this time.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This is to accommodate Councilor Aiello and his schedule tonight. So I'm in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So we are, I'll read to item 11, possible executive session. The council may vote to go into executive session for discussion and or action regarding those items of business exempt from open meetings under Rhode Island laws, Section 42-46-4 and 11A, 42-46-5A2, litigation, Watch Hill Fire District et al. Versus the Town of Westerly et al. Case number WM 2023-0190. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Motion made, seconded by Councilor Aiello. All in favor?
Aye.
Full vote. I'm sorry, I forgot. Councilor Aiello?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. We are now in executive session. I'd like to report that the council closed the executive session and sealed the minutes. Two votes were taken within the executive meeting to report out. First, to invite the Attorney General's office to a future executive session and discuss the case of the Watch Hill Fire District versus the town of Westerly. That was a 7-0 vote. And a second vote was to authorize the town solicitor to reopen negotiations with the Watch Hill Fire District. That was a 5-2 vote. And again, the minutes were sealed. Moving now to the consent calendar. Item 5A, approval of minutes, I should say that Councilor Aiello has went home for a family celebration.
Motion to approve the regular 11/3/25 minutes.
I'll make a second on
Second.
that.
Motion made, seconded by Councilor Vandover. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Yeah, next is executive.
I
minutes.
also make a motion to accept the sealed executive minutes from 11/20/25.
10/20/2020.
Second.
That's 10.
Motion made, seconded by Councilor Shalaba. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ovo, easy now, Chris.
Councilor LaPetra asked for a poll vote. Councilor Vandover,
Abstaining on this one.
Councilor LaPetra.
I'm not part of the Democrat Party. I have to also abstain.
Okay, Mr. Republican.
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes. 5B, fiscal matters, resolution authorizing the addition of tax rolls of $5.69. Item 2, resolution authorizing deletion to tax rolls, $9,775.14. 3, resolution authorizing the waiver penalty for late payments, $465.10. 4, resolution establishing sewer debt service rate. I think I'll keep going. Number 5, resolution authorizing payment to the floor office of Cameron and Middleman LLP litigation matters for $1,135.50.
Motion to approve 5B 1-5.
Second.
Made, Councilor LaPetra. Discussion.
Yeah, I'll discuss real quick. I just want to be on record as far as 5B4 goes, establishing the sewer debt service rate. I no longer have any appetite to do anything more than a 50-50 split with the general fund and the enterprise fund. Everybody can expect their sewer bills to be going up, and I don't think there's going to be any leeway to play with that anymore.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motions are approved. Next are resignations and appointments.
With regards to the alternative member of the Board of Canvassers, we received a nomination from the Westerly Democratic Town Committee for Richard Smith, effective 12/1/25.
Very good. And that by state law, the council president has to request a list of 5 names from the town committee, in this case, the Westerly Democratic Town Committee. We received those names. And first on the list is Richard Smith. All in favor of Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
I'm gonna abstain and let the Democratic Town Committee decide who they want.
Chair votes yes. Thank you. So that's 5-4-1-1.
Regarding the position of full member on the Economic Development Commission, the Appointments Subcommittee nominates Reese Johnstone, the current auxiliary member.
The nomination of Reese Johnstone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Thank you, ma'am.
Regarding the position of full member on the Board of Recreation, the Appointments Subcommittee nominates John Fusaro.
Motion for John Pizarro for Board of Recreation. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Regarding the position of full member on the Westerly Housing Authority, the Appointments Subcommittee nominates Michael Isabella.
Michael Isabella for Wesley Housing Authority. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Isabella.
Regarding the vacant position on the Architectural Review Board, the Appointment Subcommittee nominates Carol Caldwell.
Carol Caldwell for Architectural Review Board. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Caldwell.
And to be clear, that was for the second auxiliary member. That was for the second auxiliary member is the vacant position. Okay. Regarding the vacancy on the Board of Finance for a full member, the Appointment Subcommittee nominates Joseph Guilford for appointment.
Mr. Guilford for Board of Finance. All in favor?
Aye.
Since he is in the audience, I'll offer a quick congratulations to Mr. Guilford.
Thank you for helping our town.
Regarding reappointment to the Concerts on the Beach Committee, the Appointment Subcommittee nominates Paul Grillo.
Constance on the Beach Committee, Paul Grilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Grilla.
With regards to reappointment to the CRMC, the Appointment Subcommittee nominates John Rago.
I'm sorry, John
Rago.
Rago,
Argo.
R-A-G-O. Rago?
Rago.
Rago, okay.
CRMC Committee, Mr. John Rago. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Rago.
And regarding the Board of Assessment Review, the Appointment Subcommittee nominates current auxiliary Tiana Zartman for full membership.
Board of Assessment Review, Tia Zartman. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Zartman. That
And
concludes resignations and appointments. You guys did a lot of work. Thank you. The Appointments Committee. Continuing to public hearings, there are none. Unfinished business, there are none. New business.
I'm gonna make a motion to continue the new business. We have till the end of the calendar year to do this, and I think for the meeting schedule, our entire council should be here. And I'll wait for Bill to come back, because I think he did mention a conflict in one day, and if I'm not, go ahead.
It was only one of them, which is, I don't even
Yeah.
know if I'm saying it.
Well, I
Victory Day,
mean,
which, that's the only one Bill mentioned in email today. So that is correct. It is Victory Day on the 10th. Or.
still, Sean, we got 2 more meetings to do this. What's a
So
harm?
I'm
Yeah.
just letting you
We-
know.
Oh,
If he wanted to do it. That's the only
This
issue.
sentiment is well noted. I believe we can get this over with tonight if the council indulges. I believe we can change August 10th to
You can either go the
the
17th and
17th.
24th.
That has a
Just 2 weeks in a
2-week
row.
delay from July 27th.
Unless you want to do the 3rd, you're just not going to be here, right? I mean,
I might be able to be here. If not, I'll beg you guys later. So
It'd be a 3rd and the 17th is what it should have. We only changed it to the 10th because it was a conflict.
Hang on a second. I gotta look. August is when I go away.
The third and the
The
seventeenth.
third is only the next week after the 27th. though.
That,
Right.
that won't work for me. I'll be on vacation and it's my birthday.
No, just to be clear, we don't have to have perfect attendance for every council meeting. I mean,
We don't. We're trying to make
yeah.
accommodations when possible.
Do we need a motion to change it to the 17th? Or are we just gonna edit it and then wrap it all up?
We'll make a motion.
I think
Okay,
you just edit it. I think you edit it, then vote on your edit. You know,
awesome. I'm good with the 17th.
Okay.
So what do we decide, the third and the seventh?
17th.
For which day, the 10th? Oh, so we're gonna do the 17th and the 24th, a little back to back? Okay, okay. Okay, that's fine with me.
Excuse me, Mr. President, if you're going to discuss this and possibly consider it, do you want to amend the rules?
I'm gonna move it.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. Item
Calendar.
8A, item 8, new business, suspend town council rules of procedure, Rule 9D. Council operations to discuss and consider the following items, item 8A. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion
moved.
to suspend the rules.
Guess I'm rescinding my motion to, move this to the next meeting too. I
don't-
did have a
we don't
motion on the
second it.
floor. I didn't get a second, so it didn't matter, but.
Motion made by Councilor Shalaba, second by Councilor
Second.
Niemeyer. All in favor of suspending the rules? Any
Aye.
opposed? Rules are suspended. Item 8A, 2026 Town Council meeting schedule, discussion and possible action.
Discussion.
Councilor Healy, you want
Go
to?
ahead.
If we can change August 10th, 2026 to August 17th, 2026 in observation of Victory Day.
Okay, motion made to amend. Do I need a second, Mayor?
Second.
Second by Council LaPetra. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any other changes in dates?
I just want to confirm that that was changing August 10th to August 17th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going to have back to back, and so August 24th will stay.
yeah. If, without any other exceptions, is there a motion to approve the calendar as amended?
I would like to discuss some more.
Okay,
April is gonna be tough for me. I give up a lot of days in April there. I hate to do all those days before April 15th, but obviously I'm only one person, so I would ask maybe just move the April 13th day would really be helpful if we could backload a little bit after the 15th. So maybe we do the 6th, the 8th, 16th, 18th, 20th. See, this might take a minute to figure this out because we have to look at what days of the week they are, but I'd like to see the 13th become the 18th. How's that? And then however we got to make it work. Oh, you got a calendar here?
The 18th is a Saturday.
Well, that's not gonna work then. How about? uh,
just so everyone knows, in the agenda setting meeting, you approved this.
I did not approve this because the April 13th, I actually specifically got rid of and somehow popped back up. So I certainly didn't approve that. Yeah. Yeah, somehow that got changed at the agenda center meeting. The 13th was moved to the 16th. I don't know where we picked up a day.
Just do the, you don't want the 13th, so do the 16th is fine. You can do the 20th, 21st, and then the final budget will be the 22nd.
There you go. That's fine. That's it. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it.
20th and 21st, which is a Monday, Tuesday. The 20th is already on here, but add the 21st in if it's needed. And then the final one will be the 22nd, which is the final hearing.
April 13th would be, I got it.
So we would.
Or if you want, Dylan, if you can also go, which might not work for you, you can do the 8th and the 9th, or the 9th's not. good.
I
You
like
want it
to
after
get,
the 15th.
yeah, I'd like to get a few after the 15th. There. I mean, the 6th and the 8th are gonna cost me, but I can live with 2. 3 would be tough.
So I guess my only concern looking at the calendar is now we would be smushing in 3 and one of the biggest Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday all together. And the week prior now only having 1 meeting. And I 100% understand where you're coming from, Counselor LaPetra. But respectfully, this has been your career since you put your name on the ballot. So I have to push back a little bit. in order to not just overload not only us, but finance and our clerks with those three big ones, all in the same.
What makes them big? I mean, normally the final budget hearing is about 17 seconds. The final budget workshop's about 33 seconds. I mean, those are the three easiest of all of them. I mean, all the work usually comes in the first budget workshop, maybe the second. The final budget hearings, it's literally a 17-second day.
Been through three of them,
Yeah,
and
that-
only been through one, so I've recognized that,
Uh.
but last year, they weren't that short.
The last ones were very short. And for my 3 years, there's always been less than 30 seconds. In fact, one of them was,
Well, I guess I stated my case. I'm
Oh.
just having a hard time. Since this is your third year, this is the third time I've heard this conversation, so, the budget stays the same, your job stays the same, my job stays the same. It's obviously a very busy time in municipal land, which is what I do, but I do it all day and then I come here because that's what I signed up.
except
to
I'm
do.
going to lose more money in those 3 days than you make in the entire year. So there is that as well.
Oh, that's lovely.
All right, if we can get back to the schedule, do we need a regular meeting on April 20th?
That's the thing, you can also make that as no, there's not a regular meeting on the 20th. There actually would be, because the 6th and the 20th, correct, Mary? It would be a regular meeting, which is usually quick and it's a budget meeting.
That's correct, but according to the schedule, the draft schedule, there's only one regular meeting in April, which would be
Because we
April
have all the
6th.
budget meetings. So
So
usually-
I'm suggesting April 20th be a regular / budget workshop.
So we get rid of the 13th and we make the 20th a dual date, which
Or
is
just to
fine.
put it in there in case it's regular business is what the
Um,
president has mentioned.
So read to me what we got now.
The same thing you mentioned, 2021, 22.
Okay.
The 20 would just be regular / budget workshop, regular meeting / budget workshop.
So to recap,
21 is budget workshop, 22 is final budget meeting.
just to read the dates, it will go 6, 8, 16, 20, 21, 22. Does that sound right? I'm in.
If you need all those, if the budget,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course. Thank you. I make a motion, we do that.
So motion to amend April to
Second that.
April 6th, regular, April 8th, budget workshop, April 16th, first public hearing for the budget.
You can also make that, if you want, make that a budget workshop, first budget public hearing / budget workshop.
Yes.
Correct? They can do both, correct?
Yes, good. April 16th, first public hearing / budget workshop. April 20th, regular meeting / budget workshop. April 21, budget workshop. April 22, final budget public hearing. And we can play it by ear during the budget process, whether that Tuesday's needed. Motion made by Councilor Peaches, second by Councilor Vandover. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Opposed.
One opposed. Yes. That concludes the town council calendar.
Can you adopt it as amended?
We only voted on April?
You voted on,
Okay,
August and April, but you didn't, vote on it as a whole.
okay.
Motion to adopt the calendar as amended.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded by Councilor Vandover. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adopted as amended. Thank you. Moving now to communications and reports. First, our liaison reports. Councilor Niemeyer.
So I met with some members of the 250th Commission. Unfortunately, they've been scheduling their meetings at the same time that we have our council meetings. So I've had to meet with them outside of their regular meetings. But they are very close to putting together a final budget. And I believe they're close to being ready to present what they want to do to us and what they want to do with the event to us and what that budget may look like. So be on the lookout for that communication, and maybe it'll be on the next agenda. And with regards to the Economic Development Commission, they pretty much laid out what what they're up to at length.
Yeah, it was a great presentation.
Yeah, it was a fantastic presentation. But that's my reports.
Thank you. Council Healy?
Last week, the Permanent Housing Committee met for the first time. They elected a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. They are going to be reaching out to the Housing Authority to see if the chair or the director wants to take the seat that is offered by the council when we did the ordinance. And Westerly Housing Authority, their last meeting was brief. They talked about an ongoing parking issue, and that was that.
Thank you. Council Healy? In Dover? Nice report, Council Healy.
So the planning board, they're still working on the Route 1 corridor, the zoning changes there. So we've been going over that. It's going to get presented in front of you, all of us soon. I did go to the Board of Canvassers meeting, although I'm not a liaison there. I just wanted to say that they did student registration on the 13th of November, which was great. Let's see, and I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but you can pre-register to vote at 16 years old. When you turn 18, you are automatically registered. So I thought that would be informative to some people out there. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Shalaba?
I've got a few. The Westerly Library on Saturday, November 29th at 4:30 at Wilcox Park. The chorus of Westerly will lead us in song with the annual tree lighting. And then we've got a bunch of things coming up with the chamber on Friday, November 28th from 3 to 7:30 at the United Theater. There's going to be Nutcracker Trail, where they're doing that for their 100th birthday. There'll be a whole bunch of nutcrackers at the United, and then they'll be all around town, including one here at Town Hall. And let's see, on December 3rd, there's going to be a holiday stroll from 5 to 9 at the United Theater. December 14th, the Westerly Light Parade for the chamber. Santa's arrival is November 28th. It'll start with the fire truck at Dixon Square. And for people that are interested, because we have about 100 artisans that have done buoys, the Stonington Lobster Trap tree lighting is this Saturday, November 22nd at 4:30.
Thank you. Council.
Well, we mentioned everybody. Why don't we mention the Lions? We put up their Christmas tree. I believe that starts this Friday. The Wesley Lions, they have a Christmas tree downtown, and they graciously put that up for us every year to celebrate the holiday season.
Thank you. The School Building Committee met last Wednesday and report on the completion of the Dunn's Corner in Springbrook was evaluated, and the progress of State Street School was discussed. The three projects have a total of $1.2 million surplus. So they're on budget, on schedule. And the final closeout, they're asking the town manager to help with that. I'm sure you've been contacted, and look forward to that. But all reports of the facilities at Dunn's Corner and Springbrook have been, well received, very positive of the teachers, faculty, students. Moving now to Town Council, 11/17/25. Any comments? Seeing none. Town Manager?
You have the department head reports for October, and then you have an email correspondence, I think might have been shared on the council report also from Steve Sasasimo regarding some maps. I know was shared by email with everyone. I basically put it on the report so it could be shared with anyone that wanted to see it. It was just some mapping that laid out the rights of ways, as when he was involved years back, that just laid out the different rights of ways. And they're all numbered. You can go through, you can see the maps and where they were and so forth. So And it gives you the existing conditions or recommendation and so forth. So, that's all.
Thank you. Any other questions of the manager? Okay, town solicitor. There are two memorandums.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The two memoranda for this evening. First addresses Noise Neck Road, if I may. The council asked the solicitor's office to review documents to determine whether or not whether or not to recommend Noise Neck Road being referred to CRMC for designation as a right-of-way. We recommend that the council take that affirmative action and refer it to CRMC for designation as a right-of-way.
Very good, thank you. That's good news.
The second is that the council asked some information under Robert's Rules of Order. I provided a memo to the council addressing the motion to rescind. I'm not gonna, you've all received the memo, you've all read it. I'm not gonna reread it to you. Just to highlight it for you, Section 35 of Robert's Rules governs the motion to rescind. It informs us that by means of a motion to rescind, the council can change an action previously taken or ordered. It must be seconded, it's not debatable. Excuse me, must be seconded and is debatable. Also, the motion to rescind can be made by any member of the body, and there is no time limit on it. There are restrictions on the motion to rescind, and identified those restrictions for you as established in Robert's Rules of Order.
Very good, thank you. Thank you for taking that time as requested by the council.
Really?
Any questions on the two? Hearing none. Town clerk,
Nothing to report.
very good. Agenda referrals and backlog agenda. We just heard Noise Neck Ave for CMC designation, if everyone's in agreement to that. Adding Noise Neck to this request to CRMC for designation as a right-of-way. Yeah, agenda referrals and backlog agenda we're on now.
Will we ever request that? I mean, if that's what you're fishing for, I'll request it. I'm not quite sure what you want.
I don't know that we had it on there, but we were waiting for council, the solicitors.
Then
opinion.
I ask that we add Noise Neck to the agenda referrals list, referring it to CRMC.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Anybody else want to put their initials on that?
Yeah, I'll put my initials on that.
Okay. Mr. Niemeyer? Ms. Healy? I'll put mine on as well, and I'll assume Mr. Aiello, Councilor Aiello wants to have his, full council wants that on the next agenda. Any other agenda referrals?
Yeah, I would like to have on the agenda referral, the newspaper article regarding the EV buses and the town ordinance and zoning overlay districts as a discussion. How deep do you want me to go here?
I think that's good. I know that managers working with environmental engineers to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to have a discussion on that. I mean, other than relying on environmental people to come back and tell us that whether it's safe or not safe, maybe we can explore some other options like not spending so much money on electric buses.
However, there's more to it than that. Zoning regulations are the issue.
Bottom line is, I second her agenda referral.
So to define what it is, it's about the
It's a discussion,
school bus storage facility.
the bus depot, and also, I don't know if it's too early to start talking about what side was it? Too early, I don't know if it's even proper to say it at this time, but I mean, it could extenuate into other capital requests that we're gonna see from the school committee on whether or not we should even be purchasing electric buses. And I think that will probably have to wait to after the new year, but I mean, I don't know how far this discussion is gonna go, but it's a problem that needs to be definitely addressed.
I'd like to piggyback off of that, and any of this discussion should be held when we have a joint hearing with our school committee, or, yeah, school committee. This is not a conversation for just us, in my
No,
opinion.
no, I disagree with you there. I'm sorry, but this is about zoning.
I'm not talking about zoning, I'm talking about what Dylan
Okay,
said about
okay.
the EVs.
Just wanna
and
be clear.
capital requests, because once we give them the money, we don't tell them what to do with it. So I
That's
just want to
fine.
make sure that they are here and involved.
My concern is just the issue at hand of the zoning issues. And there's a big zoning issue here and it needs to be addressed. Yeah,
I would say the school committee has proven time and time again, they don't even have the bandwidth to understand this, so I don't know why we want to include them in the discussion. They're the problem.
Point of order.
We have rules.
They have, their responsibilities as well as the town and the water department, so we're trying to be prudent about this. So we'll have that on the agenda and we'll
thank you.
any other agenda referrals? Okay, moving on. Request of the town manager by councilors. Seeing none. Request of the town solicitor by councils. Councilor Healy?
Mr. Conley, I just wanted to check in on any kind of update on how we can go about changing the name of now that we have the Permanent Housing Committee. It looked very weird when it made the front page of the paper, Permanent Housing Committee. If we could,
I can have that for the next meeting if the council wants to put it on, but I'll have, it's really quite straightforward.
okay. And then my second, I don't know if this is a question or a concern that I want to put out there. But I did a lot of reading in Robert's rules this past 2 weeks and I'm losing my mind a little bit, so bear with me. When we have our liaison reports, my concern is that we're getting reports from non-liaisons, and I want to know if there's a section in our agenda where we can funnel those updates, because I think that they're very necessary and important. But I'm worried that the way that the agenda is written and the way it's being done right now is not proper, because a liaison report would need to be from a liaison.
So
We discussed that? Are we saying that, are you trying to say that only the official liaison should give a report, not any town councilor that chooses to attend the meeting?
I'm saying that that should be under a different section.
What
Maybe
section would
it's
you like to put it
town
under?
Council report,
Miscellaneous, what section do you?
town
Well,
council report.
If I could interrupt for a second, you know, we do have rules and the rules are.
Do the rules say that? Because I never read that in the
I
rules.
don't know.
Okay.
But I know that every counselor, it's come to my attention, every counselor has a right to attend meetings and has a right to participate during the appropriate time. But they don't have the right to speak for the full council, so I don't.
Nobody is speaking for the full council.
Yeah,
You're-
so I don't know if that's coming across, if it's under liaison reports and all, because liaison reports are simply reporting out what the committee has enacted or has discussed. It's not
A public.
directing
So-
the planning
So
board.
it's a motion for less information and come back to the full.
There was no motion. My,
Legal opinion
again-
for less information.
again, my request, it's not a request, it's more of a concern that I am bringing before on this entire body for legality reasons, not some weird political little tiff that you got going on. over there.
Legality?
So,
Mr. Connolly, if you could just
an
answer the
adult.
question and then we can make our comments after that, I guess, huh? Just for the record, I did request to be a liaison for the planning board. I think that is one of the most important boards that we have, and the people need to know what's going on there.
I completely
The-
agree. I
the
just want
planning
it
board
under a
is our
different
most
spot.
important board in my opinion.
Absolutely.
They are televised, they have minutes. Any member of the public, including a council person, can go and speak at the podium.
But not everybody
but
watches
they
a
can't
planning
direct
board
it.
meeting.
direct that they're judging, they're relating with the council as a whole.
I can understand the
We have
legality of
public
it.
hearings.
I can understand the legality of it, Mr. President. However, we work for the people. They should be informed if they can't watch the planning board, and I'm been there and I know what's going on, or anybody else has been at any of these other ones, other meetings, that they can't report to the people what happened. I mean, if it's got to be under a different title, so be it.
That's all I'm asking for.
That's
I
fine.
don't want people to not know. As I said, it is important and necessary, but if we're not doing it in the right way, I can promise you, we're gonna get emails about it, because then we're gonna have to go back on everything.
It's-
So if we just
Fair
fix
enough.
the problem instead of just trying to fix a problem.
Fair enough.
Okay, so, we'll wait on that result. Any other
Yeah,
town
no.
solicitor?
Now I feel like making a request to the town solicitor. I probably wasn't gonna do this, but now you got me in a mood. But, Mr. Conley, I'd like to have a legal opinion on whether or not the individual councilors can have a copy of the executive session minutes at their house. I'd like a legal opinion on that. So that councils may review at their leisure and do their job.
Okay, I'm gonna take a poll vote on that. You gotta have two councilors at least ask for it. We already had a vote on that.
This is a legal opinion on whether or not we can. It has nothing to do with our vote.
It's irrefutable with the town council rules, so.
Actually, it's not even.
You can ask a
Not even
number
thought
of
about it.
different ways, but we voted on that.
It was,
Last-
I'm asking for a legal opinion on whether or not I could just ask for it. I mean, I told you it was a stupid agenda item, and I think we're gonna find out if it is.
All right.
Now, do I have a second on
I'll
that?
second
There
that.
you go,
All
Chris.
right, let's take a poll vote. All in favor of having a legal opinion on this?
Aye.
No,
You have to have four people.
No, you don't. We make, was there 4 people for Alex? Does Alex have 4 people? Did Alex have 4 people?
To charge the taxpayers?
Did Alex have 4 people on her, opinion of whether or not we can make liaison reports if we're not the liaison? Did she have 4
Let-
votes?
Let's do it, and I'm
I don't-
Counselor Healy.
I
please,
don't
while we're on this.
remember the poll vote. I don't remember the poll vote, Chris.
Are
It
you
was,
in
it was a request of the solicitor. Now, if you don't want it to be a legal opinion, an official legal opinion, I would just like your opinion, I'll drop the word legal if that helps. Your opinion on whether or not the town councils can review executive session minutes at their home.
So I actually did a prior memo on this that I can share with the council again. And the answer is that I will reissue the entire opinion. But the quick answer to your question for this evening is that the Open Meetings Act does not prescribe a particular method for approval of executive session minutes. So long as the process is one that keeps the executive session minutes confidential, and so long as all the members of the council keep the executive session minutes confidential, we will be in compliance with the Open Meetings Act.
That works for me.
Good, thank you. Any other requests of the town solicitor? Moving on. Item 10, citizens' comments. This section of the citizens' comments can can address any item, not necessarily the agenda items. We ask that people come forward and state their name and address and act professional in their delivery to the council. They'll have 5 minutes to speak to the council. We have a sign-up sheet, and there's one name on it, Mr. Mike Rubin, Attorney Mike Rubin.
Thank you. Michael Rubin, 232 Raleigh Avenue, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I represent Caroline Contrada, intervenor before the CRMC right-of-way subcommittee on the Spring Avenue extension matter. Ms. Contrada contends for the designation and opening of Spring Avenue extension. My name has been bandied about a lot from this podium over the course of the last half a year at least. both at meetings before this town council, or meetings of this town council, I should say, and at a meeting of the Coastal Resources Management Council right-of-way subcommittee that was held at this very spot. For brevity, I will just focus on one such occasion, and that was 2 weeks ago on November 3rd, when the issue of disclosure of documents was raised by a certain individual citizen. And for further brevity, I will focus for now on just one of those documents, which is a white map, which is a town WPA project map of upper, that is to say, North Spring Avenue, and which was said to have been withheld both from citizens making APRA requests and in the discovery process from opposing counsel for the Weekapaug Fire District. On December 1st of 2023, nearly 2 years ago, I forwarded that particular item to opposing counsel in the form of a photograph of the item embedded in a report that was disclosed in discovery. On December 17th of the same year, essentially a couple of weeks later, I then saw to it that that same report with the same photograph of the same map embedded in it was forwarded to the individual who complained from this very podium. Then, on May 22nd of the following year, 2024, I disclosed a detailed description of the item with the location of the item at the engineering library of the DPW on White Rock Road, I believe it is. Then, on June 17th, again of 2024, I did the same. Then, on April 14th of this year, nearly 7 months ago, or about 7 months ago, I put together, as a courtesy to the individual making the complaint, a detailed, and I must say organized compilation of all of the pleadings, all of the discovery, all of the responses, all of the submissions in the CRMC right-of-way matter, or I should say almost all. I attempted to do all. And I forwarded this Dropbox link to the very individual who makes these complaints. And that included the detailed description, including the location.
Motion to give Mr. Rubin another minute.
I'll second that.
Let this serve as an example in rebuttal to the accusations that were made from this podium 2 weeks ago. Time does not allow further explication, so I use that example to document the unsubstantiation of the overall allegations. And I thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Rubin. That concludes the sign-up sheet. If anybody in the audience that would like to speak, please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Good evening. I am the unnamed complainant that Mike Rubin just discussed, Anthony Palazzolo, North Stonington, Connecticut. I'm not licensed to practice law in Rhode Island. Nothing I say should be construed otherwise. All of my standard terms and conditions also apply. I never once said that there was any kind of discovery anomaly or impropriety in the Spring Avenue matter. I sent in a letter. It's attached to the agenda. That's what I said. That's what I meant. In fact, I'll go so far as to say I don't know anything. I know very little about the discovery. What I was referencing is 3 APRA requests that were made to the town of Westerly for Highway Commission documents, of which the town has over 2,650 of them, including some really pivotal and serious documents for the Spring Avenue matter. You saw what Mr. Rubin had to say. That was serious. What he's saying is these documents at issue are serious. And what I said in my correspondence to this council was that it's serious that the town of Westerly keeps denying the APRA request, and it does so dismissively, abusively. The town of Westerly actually told APRA requesters that it doesn't have any highway commission documents. And I don't put that on the town clerk. As far as I know, all of these are run by Sean Lacey and Bill Conley when there's litigation involved.
Point of order, please be respectful. We've asked that before.
Point well
Mr.
taken.
Laba, have you ever heard of the First Amendment? It doesn't require me to be respectful.
No, but
Yeah,
And by the way, I am. Just because you don't like the fact
our
doesn't mean
rules-
I'm disrespectful.
Mr. Palazzolo, our rules do state them though, unfortunately.
Rules don't supersede the Constitution.
Mr. Palazzolo, if you will,
Sorry.
You just don't
just
like
act in
the
a
fact.
professional manner.
You don't like the fact here.
You could state facts as you see them.
The facts are, and what I complained about is that on at least 3 occasions, one of them including the Weequahic Fire District, the town was asked for highway commission documents, and the town summarily dismissed them all. It turns out that not only do you have 2,650 of them, they're meticulously cataloged, and basically everybody that works at the White Rock facility knows all about them. Now, that creates a serious matter because this litigation has gone on now for a total of 5 years. And these APRA requests are from 2022. 3 years of litigation that could have added clarity. The APRA request could have added clarity and avoided a tremendous amount of cost and time and effort and angst. So I categorically reject, deny what Mike Rubin had to say here moments ago. I didn't accuse him or anyone else of discovery improprieties. Now, the APRA improprieties definitely affected the Spring Avenue matter. It's serious stuff. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Any other?
Long live the First Amendment.
Any other people in the audience that would like to speak to the council? Please come forward with your name and address.
My name is Morris Devine. I live here in Westerly, was raised here, and have lived here for all but 6 of my 62 years. Just have a few. I actually had 1 item, but as discussions went on this evening, it's grown into a list of 6, so I'll try to be brief, which means I'll be concise and I'll be blunt. That does not mean I'm not being professional and I'm not being polite. President Duhamel, Vice President Shalaba, councilors present and absent, Town Manager Lacy, Solicitor Conley, Town Clerk LeBlanc, and Sergeant Falcone, my fellow citizens. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Earlier, there had been perhaps an observation or position shared that agenda items, maybe I heard it incorrectly, may not include attached reports or other attachments on which people could speak. That gets my attention. Over the years, with the First Amendment and access to government and justice, we have progressively seen the amount of time someone from the public can speak in these meetings reduced. Now I have a concern. Are there items that would normally be attached as part of the record that no one can speak on anymore? We can only speak on the specific main bullet points and not the attachments or the reports. So I look forward to your observations in clarifying that. With regards to the liaisons, interesting concern. Maybe we're addressing a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. If we don't have liaisons to certain committee activities, I would think that it would be an operational courtesy if there was any member of the town council present to allow them to be able to speak on what they observed, not influenced, what they observed in those meetings. If that's not appropriate, then it's a simple matter of an academic failure to appoint someone as a liaison to those committees. And then there can also be other things that may come to address with that. So I look forward to those as well. I'm looking forward to attending the Housing Committee meetings now that they're starting. As a member of the Planning Board and not just a private citizen, this really piques my interest and I look forward to their continued success. The bus garage. Operationally, fiscally, it's looking to be a real challenge as we have NFPA and we have significant environmental issues that come along with that. Not mentioning, if this was an iceberg, the amount of cost kind of below the waterline as opposed to just the purchase price are going to be staggering. There's no grants for that. People, there is a reason why the mice figure out too late that the cheese in the trap is free. There's a lot more that comes along with this, and I don't know that we're prepared for it. I would also like to question rescission under Robert's rules. Rescission is applicable for an action that has been taken, for an action that's not going anywhere, neither rejected nor approved. I would observe that under 35(1), rescission does not apply. So I would think that someone that's a qualified parliamentarian would probably be able to work their way through that. Also, ending on a high note, to the town of Westerly, town manager and the police department, we had a celebration of life this past weekend for someone in our community who had an incredible heart, still does, in the memories of many people. And his celebration of life was huge. The turnout was staggering. And for a motorcade of friends, people that had helped him in his many charity events to support, in particular, the children of this town and Stonington and parts of Hopkinton at holiday time, the outturn and presence was incredible. And the assistance of the Westerly Police Department was nothing short of exemplary. And they were fantastic when we approached them afterwards and thanked them for their time and their effort and their respect to Mr. Thomas Peabody. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, anybody else in the audience that would like to speak? Please come to the microphone and state your name and address.
Ben Weber, 3 Blossom Court, Westerly, Rhode Island. Chair of the Harbor Management Commission, still not here. as that here on my own accord. With that being said, I just want to say some things that may be said may seem not being polite. I think everybody is pretty much respectful when they come up here. When you start saying the same thing over and over and over again for 5 years, it gets a little frustrating, right? Even when the proof is in the pudding, right? I happen to be one of the people that have put in multiple APRA requests and over the last 5 years and gotten the same response, that there were no records or too voluminous. I actually was going to do an AG complaint and just didn't follow that. So with that being said, it is a fact. There is an issue sometimes. So it's just being brought to your attention. That's what you guys are here for, right? Furthermore, the report, when you came back from executive session, that said that you guys voted on 2 things. One, to bring the AG in at a future executive session meeting. And 2, to open up negotiations with the fire district, the Watch Hill Fire District. Did you all forget that there's a charter amendment? That you don't have the power or the ability to give up any interest in rights of ways whatsoever? The fact that Solicitor Conley got those motions denied makes the 2008 resolution the right of way that was established through that agreement still a right of way. So what could you possibly be negotiating? Again, just before that, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. I stood up here and said, this was already settled. There was already an agreement made. No survey needed. No concessions warranted. It has already been decided between an agreement verbally between both parties, memorialized in the minutes in writing. The only thing we should be doing is handing them a copy of it, putting a signature line on it, and make them sign it. Or like I said, perhaps the opportunity could have presented itself to have a judge dismiss this at the last hearing, if the motion was even made. These cases have to have merit. Simply trying to infringe on the rights of other property owners does not make this case have merit. Every property owner on Navatree Point have the right to get to their property by land, by foot, not by boat. This was already decided in the Marshall Anderson case. Is any of this not making sense? It's pretty crystal clear. Everything that's been set up here at this podium has pointed you to that conclusion. So again, it begs the question, what could you possibly be negotiating? We don't need their permission. You guys don't have the right to give that away. We already have a right of way. Remember, Mary Jane DeMeo was looking for the status of a public road. That 2008 resolution declared a right of way in lieu of a road. That's why the ordinance Didn't make sense. That was already established. Thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it, and have a nice holiday.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak in the audience that hasn't already spoken? Seeing none, council's response? Council, LaPetra?
Mr. Palazzolo, I've heard you be disrespectful before. I don't really think tonight was one of those nights, to be honest with you. But I will say that no councilor in the history of this town council, and I'm talking about the history of this town council, has had their character more falsely and egregiously attacked than me. So say whatever the hell you want, okay? That's my advice. And I don't remember anyone speaking up on my behalf. Second, Mr. Devine, as far as the liaison reports go, I fail to understand how it could ever be a bad thing for more information. If one of the town councils want to go to a meeting and come back and share what they witnessed or what they perceived, or the agenda meeting itself, how could that ever be a bad thing to have more information? And I think of myself, I guess since the president chose to never give me a liaison report, I guess there's a gag order on me for 9A if that's the way we want to play it. If no councilor could ever report on what they perceived in any of the boards and meetings. So that was one of the more ridiculous requests I've heard of the year. That's all.
Who's next? Councilor Healy?
I'm going to restate this as simply as I can, because never once have I ever sat here or spoke in any way, shape, or form that has indicated that I want to limit what somebody is talking about at that podium, in my email, or anything. Never. I simply stated that I had a concern that maybe it was in a wrong part of the agenda. This is a procedural thing that is our responsibility to do, and to get people up and have people on this side of the dais say my words are different than what I'm saying right now is ridiculous. I am being very clear from the get-go. They are important and they are needed, but as they are not liaisons, perhaps we should be told it would be better to be heard on a different section of the agenda at the same night with the same exact information. I don't understand how that turned into anything more than what it exactly, clearly, crystal clearly is. Next, one thing that I think I heard most people say when we were up here doing like a campaign thing and we talked about respect. And we're going on a year since we had the last vote. And every single month, something, whether it is counselor to counselor, counselor to public, public to public, public to staff, there is disrespect at almost every meeting, myself included. I am not saying that I am not included in this. Bringing it up when we are seeing staff degraded is fair. There has to be a turning point in our road where we say, oh, wow, for the last year, we've all wanted to get this done, and all we did was come meeting after meeting and go back and forth from the podium to the counselors and not getting anything done. So perhaps, now that the year is rounding up, perhaps one thing we could do is to get something done more than we have. And the only way to do that is to stop the yelling, stop the crosstalk, and actually pay attention to the rules we're supposed to abide by. Exactly why I talked about me reading on Robert's rules for the past 2 weeks, because I obviously have a lot to learn. I am not a career politician. I do not have this in my background. I am a mom that wants to do good for this town. I'm a pretty friggin' smart woman, and I know how to do my research. If you'd like to make a comment, feel free to come to the podium.
Not right now, though. Not now.
Again, the respect is out of control. Out of control. I would love to hear what you would wanted to yell across this room when the chair, if the chair gives you the chance. I would love to hear it because I'm sick of it.
Okay, who's next? Anybody? Councilor Niemeyer?
Sure, I'll just take this opportunity to say that I personally, just based on having seen their work over the last almost a year now, have full faith in Solicitor Conley, in Manager Lacy, in our Town Clerk LeBlanc, and Sergeant Falcone, who also makes a great dish of pasta. They do great work. I believe they're doing their work not only to the best of their ability, but they're going above and beyond. And I would say they have the faith of the council.
Thank you. Councilor Vandover?
First of all, I'm going to say that I can honestly say that I have never disrespected anybody up here, ever, never. I'm not condescending. I don't do that. It's not in my character. So with that being said, reduced time and items on the agenda in the town council report being, you can't talk about them. That's a new one on me too. So I'm curious to see as to why you couldn't speak on them. I have no idea, but we'll get to the bottom of that. Coming to the housing committee meetings, Mr. Devine, please do. We need all the input we can get there. The bus garage issue is an issue. It definitely needs to be addressed. And Ben, I'm not going to disagree with you. I won't. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to wish everybody who celebrates Thanksgiving a nice holiday.
Thank you. I'm going to address some of the comments that came up. Hopefully, I touched on them properly. As far as Mr. Rubin, 20 years, environmental attorney with the Attorney General's office. He's left the building, but thank him for his support on the Spring Avenue, on the side to open up the Spring Avenue to the public. I appreciate Ms. Contrada hiring Mr. Rubin and his work and his experience helping the town of Westerly. Mr. Palazzolo, issues with the engineering files or the 2,000 documents. I know every engineer has access to those documents. I'm not certain what was denied with an APRA request. I think anybody can go in there and get those documents, whether they're characterized with the same request. I'm not certain of that, but as you found, you had free and unfettered access to those documents. Nobody's stopping anyone from those documents. I just want to state here with the right-of-ways that, again, as Councilor Niemeyer has said, we have the best representation with William Connolly's office and Attorney General's office and the title attorney, Jay. I'm sorry, I wrote it down, but the town of Westerly is very well covered by this, and we appreciate citizens coming forward with additional information that the attorneys can evaluate, but ultimately it is the attorneys with their expertise that are going to protect the town's interests, the same interests that the right-of-way complaints or concerns are that come to the podium, the same interests that this town council has to keep the right-of-ways public. So we're hiring the best attorneys to make certain that that's happening. For Mr. Devine, First Amendment is first and foremost with this council and previous councils. There's two citizens' comments. They're structured so that the first one could be centered around what the agenda holds and how anything that that can help advise the council is within that first one. The second one is anything. The town council liaison reports that people submit to the town council, that the solicitor writes, as an amendment. Those are all open for full discussion by the public, but that's the second citizens' comments. It's not the agenda that's before us, the work that's needed at that night. So there's, if I said that to confuse people, I'm sorry. The council reports are all open to full disclosure, full discussion in the second citizens' comments. The liaison committees are assignments that the council has through the president, has the council has to represent particular boards. I think we're talking a lot about the planning board tonight, which Mr. Devine is on, appointed by this council, that the planning board is a separate body. My opinion, the planning board is, not my opinion, it's a state law. It's a separate body without influence from the town council. The separate body can make recommendations to the town council on matters of zoning, on capital improvements. And the town council can go and speak of their own mind, but the town council can't direct the planning board on how to react, how to work. They have to be independent, and that's by state law. So if a liaison, we were assigned and they were doing more than what a liaison's duties are, which is simply to report what the committee is actually doing, without having influence on that committee, without having influence on the planning board in this case, that would be appropriate. But we don't want to have one counselor or 5 counselors or 7 counselors come up and tell the planning board or any other board what they should be doing. Housing committee, yeah, we should all attend that. We should all have knowledge of that. But again, here's a committee that we're asking to do a job. If they have input from us without influence, I think that's appropriate by our rules. You know, I appreciate, Mr. Devine, you coming to our meetings and being respectful. Yeah, there's no one more respectful, in my opinion, than you and your delivery. It doesn't mean that you're in favor of what we're saying, but it's a model for how you can be critical of someone and also be respectful in that delivery. It doesn't have to be yelling and gnashing of teeth. So that's what I had from tonight's agenda. I appreciate working with all the counselors. I think we are coming together to meet the town's business, and we have this energy that we're going to work together on. I'm looking forward to the holiday. I'm taking a week off though, so.
Motion to
That's it.
adjourn.
That's it for my comments.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.